Welcome to an era where music is no longer just a melody, but a heartbeat that synchronizes millions of souls across every continent. As we step into 2026, the K-pop phenomenon has reached a fever pitch that was once thought impossible, evolving into a cultural powerhouse that dictates fashion, trends, and digital dominance. Have you ever stood in a stadium and felt the ground shake as thousands of light sticks flicker in unison? Have you ever witnessed a digital army move mountains just to see their idols smile? We are entering the inner sanctum of the world's most powerful fandoms, where loyalty is the currency and passion is the fuel. But who truly reigns supreme in this hyper-connected year? Is it the legends who paved the way, or the new generation that has captured the lightning of the digital era? Today, we're ranking the top 10 K-pop groups with the most massive fan bases on the globe. We will look past the surface and into the soul of these communities. Are you ready to find out who holds the crown? Can a single comeback change the fate of a legendary group? Does sheer volume always beat the fire of a dedicated niche? Let's begin this journey through the empires of sound and see who truly owns the hearts of the world in 2026. Let's begin the countdown. Number 10. btsjk. The pirate kings of the global stage, the masters of immersion, the unbreakable bond of atni. Kickstarting our top 10 is a group that didn't just ride the Hallyu wave, they built their own ship and navigated the roughest seas to conquer the world on their own terms. We are talking about the unstoppable force, btsjk. By 2026, btsjk hasn't just solidified their position, they have transformed into global icons of performance art, commanding a fan base known as atni that is as fierce and passionate as the members themselves. It feels like just yesterday they were the underdogs from a small company, KQ Entertainment, fighting for every inch of spotlight with sheer grit and raw talent. But look at them now. In 2026, their narrative is no longer about the miracle of a small agency. It's about the dominance of a global powerhouse. The emotional weight of their journey is palpable when you step into one of their stadium shows. Picture this. It's the summer of 2026. You are standing in the middle of Wembley Stadium, surrounded by 90,000 other souls. The air is thick with anticipation, a tangible electricity that makes the hairs on your arms stand straight up. Suddenly, the lights cut out. A collective gasp ripples through the crowd, followed by a deafening roar as the opening notes of their massive 2025 hit, Rebellion's Echo, shatter the silence. A massive holographic kraken, part of their intricate and ever-evolving storyline, appears to tear through the stage floor. And there they are, 8 captains clad in post-apocalyptic streetwear, ready to lead their crew into sonic battle. This isn't just a concert, it's a visceral, theatrical experience. That is the magic of btsjk in 2026. Their fanbase, atni, has grown exponentially, not just in numbers, but in depth of devotion. What separates them from many others on this list is the sheer intensity of their international support. While some groups dominate domestic charts, btsjk has always been the people's choice of the global market. Their 2026 World Tour, The Final Meridian, sold out arenas in places previously untouched by K-pop major acts. Think multiple nights in Lagos, a massive open-air show in Reykjavik, and a record-breaking residency in Mexico City. This geographical spread speaks volumes about how their music, which blends aggressive hip-hop, sweeping EDM anthems, and emotionally charged R&B, transcends cultural barriers. But why are the fans so incredibly loyal? It goes beyond the catchy tunes. btsjk has masterfully crafted a complex, multi-layered fictional universe involving parallel dimensions, oppressive governments, and the fight for artistic freedom, the Cromer lore. By 2026, this storyline has reached a fever pitch akin to a major cinematic universe franchise. Fans don't just consume the music, they dissect it. Entire online communities are dedicated to analyzing the symbolism in a 3-second clip from a music video, connecting it to a diary entry from an album released 4 years ago. This intellectual engagement creates a glue that binds the fandom together. They aren't just listening, they are participating in a grand unfolding mystery. The emotional connection is further deepened by the members' transparency. In an era of hyper-curated idols, btsjk, led by the fiercely creative Jung, has managed to maintain a sense of raw authenticity. Their 2026 documentary series, Beyond the Horizon, offered an unflinching look at the physical toll of their explosive performances and the mental weight of global expectations. Watching San nearly collapse after a grueling show in Tokyo, only to insist on going back out for an encore because Atney are waiting, or seeing Seonghwa openly discuss his artistic insecurities, makes fans feel fiercely protective. It's a symbiotic relationship. btz gives every ounce of their being on stage, and Atney returns that energy tenfold in digital power. Speaking of digital power, the sheer organizational capacity of Atney in 2026 is terrifyingly impressive. When their 8th studio album, Novus Ordo Seclorum, dropped, the fandom mobilized like a well-oiled military unit. It wasn't just about hitting #1 on Billboard, it was about global visibility. They coordinated synchronized streaming parties across 24 time zones, ensuring that btsjk was trending #1 worldwide on every major social media platform for 72 hours straight. They utilized decentralized fan funding apps to purchase billboard spaces in Times Square, Shibuya Crossing, and Piccadilly Circus simultaneously, broadcasting their captains' faces to the world. This isn't just fandom, it's digital activism fueled by love. The demographics of ATIII in 2026 are also fascinatingly diverse. We see a massive influx of older fans, professionals who appreciate the intricate storytelling and high production value of their concerts, alongside the younger generation drawn to their rebellious energy and fashion influence. btsjk has become a lifestyle brand, with their merchandise lines often designed by the members themselves, selling out instantly and dictating streetwear trends from Seoul to Los Angeles. Their influence extends beyond music. They are ambassadors for Korean culture, yet they feel distinctly global. Reflecting on their spot at number 10, it's a testament to the changing landscape of K-pop. A decade ago, a group from outside the Big Three, or Big Four, now, achieving this level of sustainable global mania would have been unthinkable. Number 9. ENHYPEN, the vampires of the global heart, the digital sovereigns, the infinite synergy of Injin. Moving deeper into the hierarchy of global dominance, we arrive at a group that has redefined the very concept of fan engagement in the digital age, the mesmerizing 7-member powerhouse known as ENHYPEN. As we navigate the landscape of 2026, it becomes undeniable that ENHYPEN isn't just a K-pop group. They are a sprawling, multimedia phenomenon that has turned the dark fantasy genre into a lifestyle for millions. To understand the sheer scale of their fanbase and Jin, you have to look back at the tail end of 2025, specifically that chilly November night in Hong Kong during the Mama Awards. When the presenter announced the grand prize for Fans' Choice of the Year, the roar that erupted from the Kai Tak Stadium wasn't just loud, it was a seismic event that registered across social media metrics globally. That moment, seeing Jungwon, Heesung, Jae, Jake, Sunghoon, Sunu, and Nikki standing under the golden lights with tears in their eyes, it was the culmination of a journey that began on a survival show and evolved into a global empire. By early 2026, ENHYPEN has officially crossed the threshold of 20 million cumulative album shipments, a number that sounds almost fictional in an era where physical media is supposedly declining. But Injin is not your typical fan base. They are a digital hive mind with a physical presence that can sell out a stadium in minutes. Think about their Walk the Line World Tour, which concluded just months ago. This wasn't just a series of concerts, it was a pilgrimage. They performed 32 shows across 19 cities, attracting over 676,000 fans. But the real story lies in the speed of their ascent. In Japan, they became the fastest foreign act in history to enter large-scale stadiums, hitting Tokyo and Osaka just 4 years and 7 months after their debut. That kind of trajectory is unheard of. When you walk into an ENHYPEN concert in 2026, you aren't just seeing a pop show, you are entering an immersive dark fantasy universe. The vampire lore that has been the backbone of their identity since Border Day 1 has matured into a sophisticated narrative that fans dissect with the intensity of scholars. The Sin series, which kicked off with the massive January 2026 comeback The Sin Vanish, has taken this storytelling to a cinematic level. The lore isn't just in the music videos anymore, it's in the stage production, the hidden messages in their merchandise, and even the interactive AI-driven N-o'clock content that allows fans to feel like they are part of the story. This narrative depth is what keeps Injin so tightly bound. They aren't just fans of songs, they are citizens of a world ENHYPEN created. The demographic shift of their fanbase in 2026 is equally fascinating. While they initially captured the hearts of Gen Z through their sharp TikTok-ready choreography and ethereal flower boy visuals, they have since expanded into a much broader audience. Their music has transitioned from the catchy synth-pop roots of Drunk Dazed to a more complex experimental sound that blends rock, R&B, and futuristic EDM, as heard in their 2025 triple million seller Romance. UN told. This musical evolution has earned them respect from critics and a more mature fanbase that appreciates the technical difficulty of their performances. Speaking of performances, we have to talk about Coachella. Their 13-song set at Coachella 2025 was a watershed moment. They were the fifth most mentioned artist across all social media platforms during the festival, outperforming global pop veterans. The image of Nicki leading a dance break under the desert stars, while Sunghoon's Ice Prince visuals were projected onto massive screens, became an instant cultural touchstone. That performance proved they weren't just studio idols, they were performance kings who could command a crowd of 100,000 non-K-pop fans with ease. The synergy within Jimqin is what truly secures their spot at number 9. In 2026, the fandom operates like a high-tech global corporation. When Desire Unleashed dropped in mid-2025, Jimqin didn't just stream, they organized. They utilized proprietary fan apps to coordinate digital street teams that targeted specific radio markets in the US and Europe, leading to their first sustained presence on the Billboard Hot 100. This isn't just about buying albums, it's about shifting the cultural needle. The fans feel a deep, almost familial responsibility toward the members because they made them through the I-Land voting process. That producer-fan bond hasn't faded. It has deepened into a fierce loyalty that protects the members from the often harsh spotlight of the industry. The emotional reflection here is profound. You see it in the way Jay speaks about his musical heritage, or how Jay connects with fans in multiple languages, making them feel seen across borders. The members aren't just distant stars, they are the connectors their name implies. Number 8. Tomorrow X Together. TXT, the voice of a generation, the architects of dreams, the unwavering light of Mo. Standing tall at the number 8 spot is a group that has transcended the label of idols to become the definitive poets of the youth experience Tomorrow 10 Together, or simply TXT. By the year 2026, the quintet consisting of Subin, Yeonjun, Byungyu, Taehyung, and Hwenning Kai has woven a narrative so intricate and emotionally resonant that their global fanbase, MOA, Moments of Alwaysness, has grown into a massive, borderless society of dreamers. To understand why TXT occupies such a prestigious position in 2026, one must look at the sheer atmospheric weight they carry in the music industry. They are no longer just the younger brothers of a legendary group. They are the pioneers of a new magical realism in K-pop. The year 2025 was a turning point for them, marked by the release of their magnum opus, the Ethereal Echoes trilogy, which saw them grappling with the complexities of early adulthood, the blurring lines between digital and physical reality, and the quest for identity in a fragmented world. This wasn't just an album series, it was a cultural mirror that Gen Z and the emerging Gen Alpha looked into and saw their own fears, hopes, and secrets reflected with startling clarity. When you analyze the data in 2026, the numbers are staggering. TXT has successfully held the longest streak for a K-pop group on the Billboard 200 for 5 consecutive years, but their true power lies in their active global reach. Their 2026 Mirror of the Soul World Tour wasn't just a concert series, it was an immersive, multi-sensory theatrical production that redefined what a live performance could be. Imagine standing in the SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, the air vibrating with the collective breath of 70,000 fans. The stage isn't just a platform, it's a living labyrinth of LED panels and augmented reality projections that make it appear as though the members are floating through a dreamscape. When Yeonjun begins his solo contemporary dance piece during Fahrenheit 2026, the silence that falls over the stadium is heavy, almost spiritual. This is the TXT effect. They don't just perform, they cast a spell. The emotional bond between TXT and MOA is perhaps one of the most documented and studied phenomena in the 2026 music industry. It's built on a foundation of vulnerability. While many groups project an image of untouchable perfection, TXT has always been willing to show the cracks in the porcelain. In their 2025 documentary, The Loneliness of the Long-Distance Dreamer, fans watch Subin struggle with the pressures of leadership and the weight of public expectation. They saw Byunggyu's tireless dedication to perfecting his guitar compositions, often staying in the studio until the sun rose over Seoul. This transparency creates a protective instinct within MOA. It's not just about standing, it's about supporting a friend. This sentiment is reflected in the way the fandom operates. MOA in 2026 is known for its high level of digital literacy and intellectual engagement. They don't just trend hashtags, they create massive digital libraries of lore analysis, connecting their Starseekers webtoon universe to classical literature, philosophy, and modern psychology. This depth of engagement is why TXT's engagement rate on social media platforms like TikTok and X remains the highest in the industry, even as they enter their 7th year. Musically, TXT in 2026 is a chameleon. They have moved past the bright pop of Crown and the pop-punk angst of 0x1 equals Love Song into a sophisticated blend of alternative R&B, progressive rock, and avant-garde electronic music. Their 2026 title track, Quantum Heartbeat, featured a collaboration with a legendary British rock icon, further bridging the gap between K-pop and the global music mainstream. This versatility has allowed them to capture a diverse audience. You see MOAs who are fashion-forward Gen Zers in Tokyo, indie music lovers in Berlin, and even older generations in South America who are drawn to their storytelling and technical vocal prowess. Speaking of fashion, TXT's influence in 2026 is omnipresent. Each member has become a muse for different high-fashion houses, but unlike traditional ambassadors, they collaborate on the creative direction of their collections. Yeonjun's 2025 streetwear line sold out globally in under 4 minutes, proving that their brand power extends far beyond the stage. But at the heart of it all is the narrative of growth. TXT's story is the story of a generation growing up in a world that often feels like it's falling apart. Their lyrics about the name that we forgot or the sea of eternity resonate because they speak to the universal human desire to belong and to be remembered. Number 7. 17. The Infinite Diamond, the Harmony of 13, the Unstoppable Resonance of Carat. Entering the 7th spot is a group that defies the very laws of physics and the traditional life cycle of a musical act, the 13-member phenomenon, 17. By 2026, 17 has become more than just a K-pop group. They are a living institution of artistic integrity, a testament to the power of unity, and a global beacon for a fanbase known as Carat that has only grown more radiant with time. To understand the magnitude of 17 in 2026, you have to look at the sheer improbability of their journey. In an industry where 7-year curses and contract disputes are common, these 13 individuals Skuz, Jongin, Joshua, June, Hoshi, Wonwoo, Woozi, The 8, Mingyu, DK, Seungkwan, Vernon, and Dino have remained an unbreakable unit for over a decade. This longevity is the bedrock of their 2026 dominance. As we stand in the middle of this year, their Diamond Days Eternal World Tour has just shattered records for the highest attendance by a K-pop group in European stadiums, including a historic 3-night residency at the Stade de France. Imagine the scene. Tens of thousands of carat bongs flickering in a synchronized wave of rose quartz and serenity, the air vibrating with the "Say the Name" chant that has become a global anthem. This isn't just fandom, it's a family reunion on a planetary scale. The reason Carat has expanded so massively by 2026 is rooted in the group's self-producing philosophy. In an era where AI-generated lyrics and hyper-curated personas are becoming the norm, 17 stands as a bastion of human craftsmanship. Woozi, the group's musical architect, has produced a 2026 discography that explores the golden age of maturity, blending their signature high-energy theater pop with sophisticated jazz fusion and introspective ballads that have topped the Global 200 charts for weeks. When fans listen to a 17 track in 2026, they know they are hearing the members' own thoughts, fears, and joys. This emotional transparency is a magnet for a global audience that craves authenticity. The performance team, led by the visionary Hoshi, has also pushed the boundaries of live entertainment. Their 2026 performances utilize kinetic architecture on stage, where the 13 members move with a precision that feels almost supernatural, yet retains the raw, infectious energy of a group of best friends having the time of their lives. This dual identity of being both world-class professionals and a chaotic, loving family is what makes them so magnetic. Their 2025 variety series, Going 17 the Finale, became a global streaming hit, reaching audiences who weren't even K-pop fans, simply because the chemistry between the members is so genuinely heartwarming. This crossover appeal has significantly swelled the ranks of Carrot, bringing in millions of older fans and families who see 17 as a positive aspirational force. Reflecting on their 2026 impact, we must mention their role as UNESCO's first-ever global ambassador for youth. Their Going Together campaign has evolved into a worldwide movement, with Carrots raising millions of dollars for education initiatives in underprivileged regions. This sense of purpose makes the fandom incredibly organized and motivated. They don't just stand for the sake of it, they mobilize for change. In the digital realm, 17's presence in 2026 is gargantuan. Their custom-built fan platform, Carrotland Digital, allows for real-time interactions and exclusive behind-the-scenes access to their creative process, fostering a level of intimacy that few other acts can match. When their 2026 album 13=1 dropped, it achieved a staggering 7 million pre-orders, a testament to the purchasing power and loyalty of a fan base that spans from the heart of Seoul to the vibrant streets of Sao Paulo. The emotional weight of 2026 is also heightened by the members' individual journeys. From Seungkwan's dominance in global variety television to Mingyu and Wonwoo's influence in the luxury fashion and photography worlds, each member has become a titan in their own right, yet they always return to the diamond as their center. This group-first mentality is their secret weapon. It's why, in 2026, you see fans who have been with them since Adore You standing side by side with teenagers who just discovered them through a viral challenge. They are a multi-generational bridge. As we look at the numbers, the data is clear. 17's digital streams have tripled since 2023, driven by their massive growth in North American and Indian markets. Their music is played in cafes in Paris and clubs in New York, proving that their theatrical pop has a universal language. But at the core of it all, the reason they sit at number 7 is the rose quartz and serenity promise a commitment to never let their fans down. Number 6. aespa. The digital sovereigns of the metaverse, the viral queens of the next level, the unbreakable symbiosis of MY. As we move into the 6th spot of our global countdown for 2026, we encounter a group that hasn't just broken the mold of K-pop, they have completely digitized it, shattered it, and rebuilt it in a high-definition, hyper-realistic image of the future. We are talking about the unparalleled quartet that turned the world upside down, aespa. By 2026, Karina, Giselle, Winter, and Ningning have evolved from rookie monster status into a cultural phenomenon that defines the intersection of technology and human emotion. To understand the sheer magnitude of the MY fandom in 2026, you have to look back at the chaotic, brilliant summer of 2025. This was the era of the Supernova and Armageddon takeover, a musical and visual assault that saw aespa claiming the longest-running #1 spot on the global digital charts in the history of fourth-generation girl groups. But by 2026, they have surpassed even those heights. The Sync Parallel Line World Tour, which is currently sweeping through major global stadiums, has become a benchmark for the industry. Imagine being in the heart of the Seoul Olympic Stadium or the MetLife Stadium in New York. The atmosphere isn't just about music, it's about a total immersion into the real world and the flat. The stage production of 2026 utilizes groundbreaking light field technology, making the AE members appear as solid, three-dimensional entities dancing alongside the human members, creating a visual spectacle that has attracted not just K-pop fans, but tech enthusiasts and futurists from every corner of the globe. This metaverse concept, which once seemed like a niche gimmick back in 2020, has blossomed into a sprawling multimedia narrative that the MY fandom lives and breathes. Every comeback in 2026 is treated like a major cinematic event, with fans dissecting every pixel of the Whiplash music video to find clues about the next phase of their battle against digital corruption. The emotional core of aespa's dominance in 2026, however, lies in the human evolution of the members themselves. We've watched Karina transition from the perfect AI-like leader into a fiercely vocal advocate for artistic boundaries and mental health. Her 2025 solo project Alpha, showcasing a raw, vulnerable side that resonated deeply with millions of young women. We've seen Winter become the definitive vocal chameleon of her generation, her high notes in the 2026 hit Celestial Echo becoming a viral challenge that transcended the K-pop bubble. The fandom, MAI, has grown into one of the most technologically advanced and organized communities in the world. They don't just stream, they build. In 2026, the MAIverse is a decentralized digital platform where fans create their own avatars to interact in a virtual 3D replica of the aespa dorms and recording studios, a level of engagement that has seen their global digital sales skyrocket. The demographics of the fandom in 2026 are staggeringly diverse, with a massive explosion of fans in the North American and European markets who are drawn to aespa's cyberpunk pop aesthetic and their uncompromising experimental sound. Critics have noted that aespa's 2026 music has moved into a more sophisticated, hyper-glitched R&B territory, as heard in their latest triple platinum album Neo Genesis, which features collaborations with global electronic music pioneers. This musical credibility has earned them a seat at the table of global pop royalty, leading to their historic headlining set at the 2026 Glastonbury Festival, where they performed for a crowd of 120,000, half of whom were seeing K-pop live for the very first time. The visual impact of aespa in 2026 is also impossible to ignore. Each member has become a global face for the most prestigious fashion and beauty houses, but they've taken it a step further by launching their own digital fashion lines that fans can wear in virtual spaces, further blurring the lines between reality and the digital realm. Reflecting on their journey to this sixth spot, it's clear that aespa's power comes from their ability to represent the now and the next. They are the soundtrack to a generation that grew up online, yet craves genuine connection. When Ning Ning hits those soulful, bluesy riffs in their 2026 ballads, or when Giselle drops a multilingual rap that bridges the gap between Tokyo, Seoul, and Los Angeles, the fans don't just see idols, they see architects of a new world. Number 5. Stray Kids, the noise that conquered the world. The self-produced sovereigns, the unstoppable storm of Stay. Breaking into the top 5, we encounter a group that didn't just join the K-pop industry. They hijacked it, rewired its DNA, and turned noise music into a global symphony of rebellion and belonging. We are talking about the 8-member powerhouse, Stray Kids. By 2026, Bangtan, Lee Know, Changbin, Hyunjin, Han, Felix, Sungmin, and IN have reached a level of global saturation that was once deemed impossible for a group with such a gritty, experimental sound. To understand the sheer scale of the Stay fandom in 2026, you have to look at the numbers, but more importantly, you have to look at the movement. This is a group that, in 2025, became the first K-pop act to headline every major Big Four global festival in a single year, from Coachella to Glastonbury, Lollapalooza, and BST Hyde Park. By 2026, their dominance isn't a theory, it's a global reality. The 2026 Giant World Tour is currently the highest-grossing tour by a K-pop boy group in history, eclipsing even the most optimistic projections. Imagine standing in the center of the Allianz Arena in Munich or the Maracanã in Rio de Janeiro. The atmosphere is thick with a primal, rhythmic energy. When the three Racha unit, Bangtan, Changbin, and Han takes the stage to perform a 2026 remix of God's Menu fused with their latest orchestral drill anthem Crown of Thorns, the vibration isn't just in your ears, it's in your bones. This is the essence of Stray Kids in 2026. They are the architects of a sound that shouldn't work on the radio but dominates the world because it is raw, unfiltered, and entirely theirs. The Stay fandom has grown into a gargantuan, hyper-organized global network that functions more like a digital nation-state than a fan club. In 2026, Stay is famous for its Stay Link initiative, a decentralized fan-run platform that coordinates global charity drives, educational scholarships, and local community support, all while maintaining a 24/7 streaming and voting machine that makes the group practically permanent on the Billboard Global 200. What makes this fandom so fiercely loyal, and why they've propelled Stray Kids to number 5, is the deep emotional transparency of the self-producing narrative. Since their debut on the survival show, the story has always been about 8 strays who found each other and decided to build their own house. In 2026, that house has become a fortress. Fans reflect on the 2025 Renaissance, a period where the group faced intense industry scrutiny and emerged with SKZ Replay 2, an album that featured 20 self-composed solo and unit tracks, each accompanied by a high-concept short film. This level of creative output is unprecedented. When fans see Bang Chan in his Chan's Room 2026 edition live streams, which now attract over 5 million live viewers per session, they aren't just seeing a star, they are seeing a mentor, a brother, and a leader who has stayed up until 4:00 a.m. in the SKZ Zoo studios, perfecting a single snare hit for a B-side track. This perceived proximity is the secret sauce. The members' individual growth has also reached a fever pitch. We've seen Felix become the definitive deep voice of a generation, his 2026 luxury brand campaigns and voice acting roles making him a household name even outside the music scene. We've seen Hyunjin's evolution into a fine artist, with his 2025 Paris Art Gallery debut, Chiaroscuro, becoming a viral sensation that brought millions of art stands into the Stay fold. This multi-dimensional appeal means that by 2026, Stray Kids isn't just a band, they are a lifestyle brand, a symbol of creative freedom, and a safe haven for anyone who feels like an outsider. The demographics of Stay in 2026 have shifted significantly, with a massive influx of male fans who are drawn to the group's aggressive production and complex choreography, as well as an older audience that respects their artist-first approach. Their 2026 album, Omnipotent, broke the all-time record for first-week sales, moving 8.2 million copies globally, driven by a massive surge in the European and Southeast Asian markets. But the most moving part of the 2026 Stray Kids story is their resilience. You can feel it in their 2026 stadium performances, particularly during the encore when they sing Elevator and Levanter, looking out at a sea of millions of nachimbongs, compass lightsticks. It's a moment of collective reflection, a reminder that they were once told their music was too loud and too messy. Now, that messiness is the global standard. Number 4. Twice. The eternal queens of pop, the nation's pride, the infinite blossom of once. As we break into the elite top 4 of 2026, we find ourselves in the presence of absolute royalty, the legendary 9-member radiant force known as Twice. By 2026, Nayeon, Jeongyeon, Momo, Sana, Jihyo, Mina, Taehyung, Chaeyoung, and Suyu have achieved a status that few musical acts in history ever reach. They have become a legacy group that remains a current powerhouse. To understand the sheer gravity of the Once fandom in 2026, you have to look at the Decade of Devotion celebration that occurred just months ago. 10 years after their debut, Twice hasn't just survived, they have expanded their empire into every corner of the globe, transforming from the nation's girl group in Korea into the world's girl group. The year 2025 was a masterclass in sustainability, where their ready-to-be momentum evolved into the forevermore era. This wasn't just a comeback, it was a global coronation. In 2026, the numbers surrounding Twice are mythological. They are the first K-pop girl group to ever surpass 25 million cumulative album sales globally, and their 2026 Century World Tour has seen them sell out stadiums in regions that were previously untapped by female K-pop acts, including a historic run of 5 consecutive nights at the Nissan Stadium in Japan and back-to-back shows at the Maracanã in Brazil. Imagine the atmosphere in a Twice stadium show in 2026. It is a sea of candy bongs that stretches as far as the eye can see, a vibrant, glowing testimony to a decade of hits. When the first notes of their 2026 global anthem Infinity Love ring out, the sound of 80,000 voices singing in perfect harmony is enough to bring a tear to the eye of even the most casual observer. This is the Twice magic. A pure, unadulterated joy that bridges generations. The Once fandom in 2026 is a massive, multi-generational entity. You see, first-generation ONCs who have been there since the Cheer Up days, now bringing their children to concerts, creating a family-like atmosphere that is unique to this group. The emotional bond is anchored in the fact that these 9 women have stayed together, re-signing their contracts twice, proving that their sisterhood is real and unbreakable. This 9-1 = 0 philosophy is the heartbeat of the fandom. In 2026, the individual members have also branched out into massive solo careers, with Jihyo and Nayeon becoming established global soloists and the Missimo unit, Mina, Sana, Momo dominating the Japanese and European fashion and music charts. Yet, whenever they reunite as 9, the global impact is exponential. The 2026 Once community is also one of the most philanthropically active in the world. Through the Twice Hearts Foundation, they have built schools and community centers across Southeast Asia and South America, turning their love for the group into a tangible global good. This sense of purpose makes the fandom incredibly resilient. Digitally, Twice in 2026 remains a streaming titan, particularly in North America, where they have successfully integrated into the mainstream radio circuit. Their 2026 album A New Chapter featured a sound that blended their classic color pop energy with sophisticated city pop and disco funk, earning them critical acclaim and a new wave of adult listeners. But at its core, the reason they sit at number 4 is their consistency. For over 10 years, they have provided a constant stream of happiness, comfort, and high-quality music. They are the reliable icons, the group that feels like home to millions. When you see them on stage in 2026, they aren't just performing, they are celebrating a journey they took together with their fans. Number 3. NewJeans. The global paradigm shifters. The natural revolution. The infinite hype of bunnies. Stepping onto the podium at number 3 is the group that didn't just change the game, they deleted the old manual and wrote a new one in pastel colors and lo-fi beats. We are talking about the absolute sensation, NewJeans. By 2026, Minji, Hani, Danielle, Heron, and Hyen have transcended the very definition of idols to become the definitive faces of global youth culture. To understand why the Bunnies, talkie fandom, has swollen into the 3rd largest musical army on the planet by 2026, you have to look at the natural revolution they sparked. While the rest of the industry was leaning into hyper-complex lore and noise music, NewJeans went the opposite direction, embracing an effortless, girl next door aesthetic combined with sophisticated 90 seconds and 2000s R&B vibes that felt like a breath of fresh air in a crowded room. As we stand in early 2026, the data is staggering. NewJeans is officially the fastest K-pop group to surpass 10 billion streams on Spotify, a feat they achieved through a consistent stream of global hits like the 2025 mega-viral Ethereal and the 2026 anthem Vivid Dreams. The atmosphere of a NewJeans concert in 2026 is unlike anything else in the industry. Forget the pyrotechnics and aggressive choreography for a moment. Imagine the Tokyo Dome or the Rose Bowl transformed into a massive, nostalgic dreamscape. The Bunnies Camp Global Odyssey Tour isn't just a concert, it's a sensory experience where the scent of fresh linen and citrus is pumped into the air, and the stage is designed to look like a high-end fashion film set. When the first synth-pop notes of Ditto or Hype Boy ring out, the roar from the crowd isn't just loud, it's melodic. It's a sea of binky bongs, light sticks, that move in a relaxed, rhythmic wave, reflecting the easy listening philosophy that has made them the most played artists in retail spaces, cafes, and in fashion boutiques from Seoul to New York to Paris. The Bunnies fandom in 2026 is a fascinating case study in digital-first community building. They are the masters of aesthetic standing. If you look at social media in 2026, the NewJeans influence is everywhere, from the NewJeans core fashion trends that dominate TikTok and Instagram to the digital art and fan-edit culture that treats every music video frame like a piece of high art. The emotional bond here is rooted in a sense of aspiration through relatability. Fans don't just want to watch NewJeans, they want to be in their world. This has led to a level of brand loyalty that is terrifying to competitors. By 2026, NewJeans has become the primary global faces for brands like Apple, Coca-Cola, and 5 different major luxury houses simultaneously, making them the commercial queens of the decade. Their 2025 Shot on iPhone collaboration was just the beginning. In 2026, They launched the NJOS, a customized mobile interface that allows fans to interact with AI versions of the members, further deepening the digital intimacy that drives this fandom. But beneath the polished, aesthetic surface lies a deep, emotional connection to the music. Fans reflect on how NewJeans songs became the soundtrack to their post-pandemic lives, providing a sense of comfort and nostalgia during a time of global uncertainty. The 2025 Acoustic Sessions album, where the members performed raw versions of their hits, solidified their reputation as talented vocalists, silencing critics who focused only on their production. Each member has also carved out a unique space in the fandom's heart. Minji as the classic icon, Hani as the creative soul often seen participating in song production, Danielle as the global bridge, Heron as the trendsetter, and Hyein as the high fashion muse. This individual branding ensures that there is a point of entry for every type of fan. The demographics of the 2026 bunnies are incredibly broad, with a massive stronghold in Gen Z and Gen Alpha, but also a growing adult contemporary audience that appreciates the musicality of their 2026 experimental R&B tracks. Their 2026 world tour sold out in record time, not because of K-pop hype, but because NewJeans has become a must-see cultural event, akin to seeing a legendary pop act in their prime. They have successfully bridged the gap between idol pop and mainstream global pop, appearing on the covers of Vogue and Rolling Stone as the future of music. The scale of their physical and digital sales in 2026 is a reflection of this. Their 2026 album Palette achieved a perfect all-kill on global charts within 3 hours of release, driven by a highly organized Bunnies network that operates across 50 different countries. Reflecting on their journey, the reason NewJeans sits at number 3 is their ability to remain fresh in a world that moves too fast. They are the group that taught the world that less is more, and that a genuine natural vibe is the most powerful weapon in the digital age. Number 2. Blackpink. The Pink Revolution. The unmatched global sovereigns. The unbreakable empire of Blink. As we reach the penultimate spot on our global countdown for 2026, we find ourselves standing in the shadow of a mountain that doesn't just dominate the landscape, it defines it. We are talking about the undisputed queens of the global stage, the four-headed dragon of style, power, and prestige. Blackpink. To understand the sheer, overwhelming magnitude of the Blink fandom in 2026, you have to look back at the silent era of 2024 and 2025, a period that would have dismantled any other group in history. During these 2 years, Jisoo, Jennie, Rosé, and Lisa were technically apart, each forging their own independent paths under their own labels, Jennie with Eau de Tellier, Lisa with LLOD, and Rosé and Jisoo embarking on solo ventures that shattered Western records. Any other fandom would have drifted, but Blink's? They didn't just wait. They evolved into a global conglomerate of individual powerhouses that merged back into a supernova in 2026. This year, 2026, marks their monumental 10th anniversary, and the energy surrounding their Deadline World Tour is nothing short of a religious experience for millions. Imagine standing in the heart of Wembley Stadium or the Kai Tak Stadium in Hong Kong right now. The air is thick with a specific kind of electricity that only Blackpink can generate. When the hammerbong's pink light sticks begin to pulse in a rhythmic tribal wave and the Blackpink in your area chant rips through the atmosphere, it feels like the world is shifting on its axis. By early 2026, the data confirms what everyone already felt. Blackpink remains the most subscribed musical act on YouTube, now surpassing 100 million subscribers, a number that feels more like the population of a superpower than a fan club. Their 2026 comeback album, Decade, released in January, became the first album by a female group to sell 5 million copies on its first day globally, fueled by a decade of pent-up demand and the incredible solo successes of the members. The individual achievements of 2025 were the fuel for the 2026 explosion. We saw Rosé's APT collaboration with Bruno Mars become the definitive global anthem of late 2024 and 2025, spending record weeks at the top of the Billboard Global 200, and bringing in a new wave of listeners who previously stood outside the K-pop bubble. We saw Lisa headline the Victoria's Secret fashion show and land a starring role in The White Lotus, making her a household name in every corner of the planet. We saw Jennie dominate the luxury world while dropping solo tracks like Mantra and Ruby that trended in over 100 countries. And we saw Jisoo transition into a respected global actress while maintaining her status as the face of Dior. These four women aren't just idols anymore. They are four separate, world-class brands that have chosen to reunite for the most ambitious era of their careers. The Deadline Tour in 2026 is a masterpiece of high-concept entertainment, a multi-million-dollar production that utilizes hyper-realistic, AI-driven stage sets and a fashion-forward wardrobe that changes for every continent. The emotional depth of this year is palpable. During their 10th anniversary concert in Seoul, the members spent nearly 30 minutes just crying and talking to the fans, reflecting on their journey from Boombayah to the top of the world. This vulnerability is the secret weapon of the Blink fandom. Despite being one of the most commercially successful groups in history, the bond between the Pinks and their fans feels deeply personal, almost like a us against the world pact. In 2026, the Blink fandom operates with the efficiency of a high-tech intelligence agency. They coordinate massive Pink Out events in major cities, where entire skyscrapers are lit in pink to celebrate the group's arrival. They have raised millions for environmental and social causes through the Blink for the Planet initiative, which grew even stronger after the group's appearance at the UN Climate Change Conference. The demographics of the 2026 Blink fandom are staggeringly wide. They have captured the high-fashion elite, the Gen Z digital natives, and a massive legacy audience of older fans who have grown up alongside the group. This is why their position at number 2 is so secure. They are the gold standard. They are the group that proved a girl group could headline Coachella, dominate the VMAs, and remain the most influential fashion icons on Earth for a decade straight. Their music in 2026 has matured into a sophisticated global anthem. Soundtracks like Infinity Pink and Jump blend their signature trap, heavy beats with orchestral arrangements and multilingual lyrics that resonate from Bangkok to Barcelona. Reflecting on their 10-year journey, Blackpink has become a symbol of empowerment for a generation of women worldwide. Number 1. BTS, Bangtan. The universal language of the soul, the living legends of the century, the indestructible army of ARMY. We have reached the absolute peak, the summit of the global musical landscape where the air is thin and the light is blindingly purple. There was never any doubt, was there? Standing at the undisputed number 1 spot in 2026 is the group that didn't just transcend K-pop, they transcended the very concept of a musical act to become a global movement, a historical pivot point, and a home for tens of millions. We are talking about the 7 brothers who changed everything. RM, Jin, Suga, J, Hope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook. To understand the sheer, earth-shaking power of the ARMY fandom in 2026, you have to realize that we are currently living through what historians are already calling the second coming of Bangtan. After a hiatus that felt like an eternity, the year 2025 saw the final members return from their military service, and the reunion wasn't just a media event, it was a global healing process. By early 2026, the numbers are so astronomical they almost lose meaning. BTS has officially become the first group in history to surpass 100 million monthly listeners on a single platform, and their 5th full-length studio album, Resurgence, released in March 2026, shattered every existing record within 24 hours. But the true scale of their dominance is felt in the streets. Their 2026 Apo Bangpo, The Eternal Chapter, World Tour is not just a tour, it is a global takeover. We are talking about 65-plus dates in the world's largest stadiums, with a projected revenue that exceeds the GDP of some small nations. Imagine being in the Seoul Olympic Stadium, or the newly built mega arenas in Riyadh and Mumbai. The atmosphere is a thick, pulsating cloud of emotion and Borland's purple light. When the first notes of Spring Day 2026 Anniversary Edition ring out, the sound of 100,000 voices singing Bogo Shipta isn't just music, it's a collective roar of a generation that waited, stayed loyal, and finally saw their home return. This is the core of the ARMY fandom, an unbreakable, bulletproof loyalty that stood the test of time, distance, and silence. In 2026, the fandom operates as a sophisticated, decentralized global superpower. They have their own news networks, their own charitable foundations that have literally reforested entire regions of the Amazon, and a digital organization that can make a song from 2013 trend #1 globally in minutes just to prove a point. The emotional reflection here is profound. Fans look back at the Chapter 2 solo era, the raw vulnerability of RM's Indigo, the rockstar energy of Jungkook's Golden, the cinematic grit of Suga's D-Day, and realize that those solo paths were just the roots growing deeper so the tree could stand taller in 2026. Each member has returned with a matured artistry that has pushed their new music into the realm of modern classics, blending high-concept philosophy with the soul, stirring melodies that first captured the world's heart. The demographics of ARMY in 2026 are truly universal. It is the only fandom where you see world leaders, grandmothers, and elementary school children standing side by side, all wearing the same purple ribbon. They are the princes of pop who became the kings of the world, yet they still bow as low as they did in 2013, still speak to fans through handwritten letters on Weverse, and still remind everyone that love yourself is not a slogan, but a lifelong mission. As they stand on the stage in 2026, looking out at a literal ocean of purple light that spans the entire globe, they are the living proof that music can bridge any divide and that a shared dream can change the course of history.